Hello, hello. We are live. This is Video Games Is Serious Business, where hackers play hacking games. My name's Rich Metzen. I am one of the developers behind the hacking game Off Grid, and this is Pathfinder.
Good evening.
Path is a good friend of mine and a security researcher in his own right, yeah, a few of you might know him from hanging about in our Discord. Basically, what we're doing here is we are playing other people's hacking games once every few weeks, as well as doing the modding and dev showcase of what's going on in Off Grid, in order to kind of look at prior art and kind of explore the genre a bit, give a bit of space for other people's hacking games to be showcased within our sort of small but dedicated community, and generally just to chat about hacking and hacker culture. So yeah, please do jump in the chat, join in. We'll be keeping our eye on the Discord and the Restream chat app, which gives us connection to, the places like Twitch and Mixer that the game is being streamed to. Just realised that Restream has not connected properly for the Restream chat thing, so let me just get that started up. Tonight the game we're going to play is a game called Nite Team. I haven't played this at all, and Pathfinder, you haven't come across it before at all either, have you? It's new to you.
Yep, absolutely no idea.
So my understanding of this one is it's a bit more, it's maybe a bit more serious or sim-like than maybe your slightly more jovial hacknets and uplinks and whatever else. It's trying to put itself out there as the next generation of hacker game or hacker simulation even. Yeah, I don't know 100% what that will mean for us in terms of what it's going to play like. We'll have to have a go and see. Path, have you got the ability to keep your eye on a couple of the chat places? Because this Restream chat thing is not working for me right now.
So I've got the YouTube one up, and cool. I will be able to check the Discord server as well.
Cool. I'll pull up the Twitch chat then. So yeah, please, if you've played this game before and you fancy chiming in and helping guide us through, we're going to need as much help as we can get, I think, seeing as we're playing this entirely blind. Should be fun. I'm sure we'll have a good time.
So the idea behind this one is we're going to have to rate it almost in comparison to the realism of the last one. Is that what we're doing here, or are we going to be kind?
I think what we're going to be doing is sort of rating it on its own merit. Definitely, it's good to kind of go, oh well, Hacknet was interesting because it did it this way, and Nite Team is interesting because it's doing this. But I think they are going to be quite different in many ways. Like I said to you off stream, Path, I think there's a bit more of a militaristic tone to it, so which might kind of grate you and I a little bit the wrong way. So we'll have to see. But I'm interested to find out. So without further ado, if I just try and get this thing launched. That's Steam. No. Oh, it's playing something.
0093. Secure uplink initiated.
Oh, that looks right.
Stinger OS now active.
Oh dear, that's huge. What's going on there? It's uploaded Stinger OS. Wow. The resolution of this game must be massive. Let me. What's that?
Have we got that up on the? Have we got that up on the screen behind you there?
No, I'm trying to resize it before I do, because right. it's impossible to see. Oh my god! What resolution is this at? We'll get there in a moment. Any moment now. It's scaling down. There we go. So close. It's got a nice ominous tone in the background, don't you think? Can you hear that?
I cannot know, but given hacking game plus militaristic, I can certainly imagine.
That's it's got a nice kind of echoey kind of thing going on. Right. I think that's us. Should be able to see it now. So you can't hear any of that music then? Or I suppose you probably got your audio off actually, so you don't hear yourself echoing down the line. That's what it is, isn't it?
That is correct, yes.
Yeah. So, right, we need. You know how in the last one in Hacknet, basically what we did was we. Oh, we got Green John. Hi, John. Oi, oi, he says. Oi, oi, back to ya. I have one other thing that I have to do, which is I have to pull up the Steam chat so that I can see people in Steam saying hello to. Broadcast chat. Cool. All right. I think we're ready to start playing. It's so ominous.
It reminds me of, almost reminds me of some of the earlier Red Alerts.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I had that same feeling when the screen popped
Red Alert
up.
2.
Yeah.
The Ivan.
So.
I don't know
Oh, go on. What were you going to say?
No. We'll see whether the art direction continues that theme going forward. But
wouldn't that be fun? So in Hacknet, and this is opened up in much the same way. In Hacknet, you have to come up with a handle and a password because you're signing into Hacknet OS, and it looks like we're signing into Stinger OS here. But instead of a hacker name, we've got an agent name. So I guess if it's an agent name, we've got to type in Richard Gill as our agent name, right?
Could be Richard Gill, could be Smith, could be 47, depends how you want to play it.
That's true. I think Richard Gill, I mean, because ultimately we want
Would you
some
put Richard Gill on the front line of a command line? Is the question.
Exactly. No, not at all. I mean, he was security. He was Secret Service. He the whole point is in Hackers. He was really pissed off about being on the cyber division all of a sudden, wasn't he? He was. I protected the president for 4 years, and I'm goddamn here. Whatever it is, whatever the line is.
Did you know? And I don't know.
You have to actually register. Oh, what? Someone's saying I have to register. Shep's Life. I wouldn't say your password out loud. I haven't registered actually, so I was just going to type in password like like I was making it up. Well, I have to register. Oh, what? Is this really? All right. Well, we'll do that. We'll register. We'll register at a Sameapus contact email address.
That's the thing. See, you play as an agent in a government agent scenario, and you got to do it all by the book.
What, which includes setting up this is setting up a for real account though, which is a pretty annoying hurdle.
Yeah, you got to go through a clearance questionnaire. You got to do.
Right, I see. Oh, okay. Right, it's going to take a few days for us to complete this stream then, because I'll be waiting on some kind of background check.
Oh, months. It's months. That's what you.
Right. Well, yeah, you're right. Let's generate a password quickly.
So while that's going on, I will have to fact check reference this just to make sure. But I'm pretty sure up until not too long ago, quite a heavy amount of cyber-related protection did come under the purview of the Secret Service randomly. So, because when people first sort of think, why is the Secret Service the port of call for this, plot in hackers? But that actually was a related thing for a while, rather than what you might expect to be.
I think it's still the case. I think the Secret Service have domain over multiple things along those lines that are rather surprising.
I remember reading some point about it and being surprised at just how much they are involved in it.
Right, we're not reading the TOCs or the privacy policies. Kali Linux TM is a trademark of offensive security. So Cobalt Strike is a trademark of Strategic Cyber LLC. So already Cobalt is being used, and I guess we're going to be dropped into a mock-up of Kali.
Fantastic.
Wow. Well, who knows? It still could be fun. Welcome, agent. Right. You going to do anything else other than welcome me? No. So, remote address, local host. Welcome. Oh, visit the academy to get your first assignment. Okay. Shep's Life. Have you played this before? What are your thoughts on it? I'm not sure I'm that into a hacker game that the first thing it does is make you register an account.
You have to go to the academy by way of some place within the portal you've just registered to on a site rather than the game.
I don't think
the academy.
So. No, I think it's this button up here. Just got to work out how to click on it. It's sort of mildly off screen, isn't it? What I'm gonna just try and get this properly on screen for us, because it's not quite, is it? It's because I've put it in on widescreen, which wasn't actually on purpose. There we go. Should be able to see a bit more of the screen now. Yeah, I mean it's. Oh, what is it making me do? Ah, okay. No, the UI will temporarily collapse when you launch special modules. Simply roll over to expand if you need to see your objective. Shep's Life says the open world missions are really involved as well. Okay, so that's positive. Enjoyed it.
Open world.
Yeah.
As in, right.
Don't know. I assume that means you can hack
genuine
anything.
servers then.
Yeah.
I mean, the internet's a pretty open world hacking simulator if you view it one way.
I'm wondering whether I should have read the terms and conditions now, because if one of the terms and conditions was you agree that you're aware that all of the IP addresses simulated in this game actually do think of real boxes.
Yeah, and the one thing you have to make sure of when you're committing various extracurricular activities is to not live stream it.
Not live stream it. Not live stream it while talking about your ignorance, especially.
Yeah, and the other thing not to do, obviously, is not to talk about it in open Slack channels, and not to put your incriminating evidence by way of the stolen data on GitHub.
On GitHub that you have your PDF to your CV on.
Yes. For those listening.
One of the more surprising parts.
We're referencing the recent Capital One shenanigans, credit card company, and unfortunately for them, their data storage, which went back up to 14 years, I think, got sharked by a very loud individual who likes to tell the world just exactly how they were routing their little spree, and pasted it on a very, very widely used platform, now owned by Microsoft even. Not the smartest.
I mean,
not the smartest.
I'm not sure whether they were even trying to be smart. That's the weird thing about this one, really.
Well, they worked for AWS in the first place, and AWS is the platform from which they took the data.
Yeah.
So I don't. In terms of trying to garner some form of career, it appears they did have one. But I don't know.
Right. I'm gonna have a look at what missions we need to get. Information gathering. Oh, here we go. Okay, these the information gathering, DNS and vhost mapping. Let's click on this. Well, it's loading.
Okay.
Loading a module.
Well, look at that.
This module
that's pretty interesting.
Is a recon and mapping tool designed to help you discover a target subdomain on its DNS configurations. These tools are here to help you map out the target's exposed online services.
Interesting.
SFuzzer uses dictionary attack strategy to find common subdomains and possible variations of target. Example: www. forums, intranet. etc. Using a distributed proxy network, the tool processes an average of 150 attacks per second on a specific domain name and its servers. You can define the duration of the attack as a parameter. Example: SFuzzer newsstreamlive.ca flag T15 executes a 15-second dictionary attack on the domain name newsteamlive.ca. OSINT scan uses public search engine databases to discover existing subdomains using various query strategies. It will find all indexed pages and reconstruct the target subdomain configuration. OSINT scan processes 100 search engine results every 5 seconds. You can define the depth of the search as a parameter. Example: OSINT scan newstreamlive.ca -s google.com -d500. Search any trace of newstreamlive.ca subdomain in Google's database with the scan limit set to the 500 first results.
So straight away then, I can tell you as an OSINT scan there that they have pretty much the command structure of that with the flags they've got, I'm pretty sure is a direct match for something called the Harvester.
Right.
Which is an OSINT-based scanning tool. You give it a results number of about 500.
Yep.
The same way they have there. But I think they've switched it round. I think -d for that one would be the domain, and that's where you'd stick Google, and then you'd have a count. But essentially the Harvester, a few other related things, work pretty much in exactly the same manner as that.
Well,
aside from the name, it's
go on. Aside from the name, it's well. So it looks like I can run a help command on them to learn a bit more about each. So we could do that with OSINT scan and see whether it's got any flags that you recognise. What do you think?
Yeah.
Parameters: target, server IP or root level domain name. S is sources. So -s is sources. -d is the limit. Optional -t is the time limit. Okay, so that's the same as the stuff it described a second ago. Okay, I think I get what's going on here. So this is being run as if it's a terminal, but it's a terminal just for these tools, basically.
Yeah, I think so.
And I think then we've got, so that's information gathering. That gives us host fingerprint, exploit database, exploit DB, WMI scanner, aircrack,
IC,
Active Directory.
Really?
Yeah,
they've not even changed the name of that.
No, they haven't. Well, Aircrack, well, technically they have, because Aircrack is Aircrack one word, and it's Aircrack NG is the full name of it,
Yeah,
isn't it? So,
yeah.
And they just called this Aircrack, so maybe they've changed enough. Who knows?
WMI scanner is also quite interesting to have in there. That is quite current events for people to be. I mean, for a while people have been doing it, but a lot of attack propagation. Once you compromise something to jump somewhere else, you're using. So WMIC is the command line runtime tool name for WMIC, if you like.
Mm-hmm.
But lateral movement inside with WMIC is still pretty popular to throw malware from one first breach across a network.
Right.
That's pretty good. They've got that in there. I tell you now, though, they will not have the kind of crap that we had to deal with for Aircrack back in the day, when everyone had terrible onboard Wi-Fi or poor Wi-Fi chipsets, where you can't just run this. I've got to install this. Oh no, I've got a Broadcom chipset. Now I've got to spend 30 minutes recompiling Wi-Fi drivers. If they put that in 1010, they've got the exact model.
Should we try probing a domain of some kind? Should we try OSINT scan on? I mean, so the example here is search any trace of Newstream Live subdomain in Google's database. I mean, I don't see any missions anywhere.
Turbine C2
oh, here we go.
Do we have to walk through these separate things first?
I've got no idea. I mean, that's just all the tools. There's network intrusion, Fox acid server, phone CID backdoor, password attack, man in the middle. There's a social engineering toolkit, like I was saying about earlier. That's a real tool for use for spear phishing. And then Hydra, which is pretty much running any kind of brute forcing over any protocol.
That they directly put the name Hydra in there as well.
Yeah.
THC Hydra, in case people wanted to have a look. I missed out that reference.
Yeah, the hacker's choice. Classic.
Yeah,
that's German team, right? From back in the day.
Exactly.
So Shep's Life says we're still in the tutorial. I know we're still in the tutorial. What I can't find is what I'm supposed to even do in the tutorial. Do you know what button we're supposed to click on, Shep's Life? So data forensic, X key score forensics is a tool set here.
Wow, that is pretty a touchy subject.
Yeah, well, it'll be interesting to see what you do with it.
Well, you know what X key score was, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's basically.
I imagine that's what they've modeled to be, right?
I think so. Yeah. It'd be interesting to see what. I assume all they've done is taken Snowden's leaks and any of the pages that were available from there. It'd be interesting to see what they thought they were allowed to mock up from that. Those pop-ups, as in these pop-ups to the right, this green one, Shep. Please visit the Academy to get your first assignment. See, I'm clicking on this Academy thing. Is this?
Drone and imagery.
Well, yeah. What's that?
Active.
Yeah, it seems like it's trying to load. I don't know what the deal is. No active mission.
Which pop-up? Latitude, longitude.
Turbine C2 registry.
Turbine C2 registry.
Yes, that's interesting. I don't. C2 meaning CNC, command and control. I don't.
Yeah, I don't think it's Amazon C2. Must be CNC.
No, you're thinking of E2 there.
Oh, EC2. Yeah.
C2. There must definitely be referencing remote C2 that other people's C2 there. C2. I don't know. If we're supposed to be the agent, I'm guessing those are C2s we can use, right?
Turbine C2 registry initiated.
So there's a big hesitancy to use the words that are used for enemy combatant infrastructure, such as C2. Whereas if it's something that's done by Five Eyes, it isn't called C2. So the fact that they're calling you out as being some form of Western intelligence agent, and yet your infrastructure is referred to as C2, could raise an eyebrow in some people's view.
Sorry, Path. I'm having a hard time concentrating and chatting and working out why the red button, the red arrow that Shep is telling me to press. This thing, this swirly circle up in the top right-hand corner that has a red arrow next to it, Shep's life. I can't press it. It's not letting me. It's letting me click pretty much everything else. But
Did you have to activate your registration?
Oh, I wonder. I can check my email. Let's see. Bear with me a second. Welcome to Nite Team 4 from Alison Smith. What if you click on the arrow itself, Green John says, or the pop-up? Might have to hit escape, Shep says. Greetings, agent, from everyone here in Alison Smith. First, I'm the studio owner. You can reach me here on our Discord. We have now passed 7,000 members on the Discord. That's nice. We have many resources. If you encounter issues, email info. I could email them. I don't think you do have to confirm the registration.
No. You might have to just... I don't know whether you have to click through the whole set of tooling for the tutorials to then set a flag somewhere that allows you to actually do something.
Shep says something about like having to hit escape, but escape's not doing anything for me.
A small X in the corner kills that DNS box thing you have.
Oh, yeah, you mean as in there might be... I mean, it's just so frustrating. Yeah, John said that to cross out that pop-up, but I mean...
Is there something on the little globe thing you can click?
The thing that's spinning around in the middle? No, I don't think so. I think that's just a background. I mean, it's basically, I can click everything, every single UI element, apart from the one that the arrow is pointing at.
Is this surely is not the limitation of the demo then? Just to show you through the tutorial section?
Well, it's not even gotten me into it's because that's the whole point of the academy. Surely the academy is the tutorial section. Like, I mean, if the demo is just to allow you to read all of the settings, then that's a bit rubbish. You've surely got to be able to play with some of it.
Yeah, click some of those random things and go through them.
Green John is saying, can I click on the word academy? No, I can't click on the word academy. I can't click on the red hand that is pulsing back and forth. I can't click on the red arrow that is clicking up and down here. I mean...
The only thing I can think of is when they have this arrow going up, it looks like whatever that element is, it is not loaded.
At Shep's Life, yeah, I'm on the demo version. I figured what we'd do is we'd test it out quickly first. Green John, on the things underneath. The things underneath are these kind of save slots, and they don't seem to do anything either. The 3 lines on the bottom left, you might have to restart it. Yeah, it's a good point. Let's try that. Let's leave the game. Reset the game? Let's try just resetting it. You sure you want to reset the game? Yes. I understand progress will be permanently lost because we didn't make much progress.
Hive HiveMind Network Online. Channel 00.
Oh, those are like multi-desktops for work areas, I see.
Hackers break into financial institutions, cell phone networks.
Got Hillary Clinton on the TV.
In support of our military and our government.
So we need successful strategies.
Said something about HiveMind there.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what HiveMind's supposed to mean. I don't think it references Anonymous at all, to be honest, because it seems to be some multiplayer setting.
Online and off. The
program
uses facial
Well, HiveMind back in the day wasn't just Anon, it was tricking people into joining a botnet.
And deterring criminals and terrorists online.
Well,
So what you did was you downloaded Loic. Loic was backdoored after one or two of the, depending on which campaign it was.
mm-hmm.
But once you'd done what you'd done, essentially other people would be able to use your device that you've hooked in as a kind of an agreed botnet, if you like. You've given permission for somebody to direct your packets for you.
Yep.
That was part of it. That's what the HiveMind was.
People didn't really know what they were doing with Loic, did they? Because they did actually think that they were technically the ones choosing the domain that they were pointing at, etc.
And there were some tools like people were organising campaigns and directing stuff, but there was quite a lot of backdooring that went on.
Shep's Life says it's for user-created missions and content, is what HiveMind references. So it's like their modded section.
Welcome, Agent.
Yeah.
Right, let's try this again. It's bloody working. Yep, seems a bug.
Welcome to Boot Camp, Recruit.
Well,
I'm Sergeant Wheeler, and I'm here to teach you
Well,
all
we've-
you need to know
we've
to
hacked
become
the
an
game.
elite member of our cyber
We've been
warfare
hacked by the
unit.
game.
Yeah, see, element
Recruitment officer
loaded.
told
On
me
the
you
other
had a
side as
decent
well,
head
there
on
was
your
an element
shoulders,
that
and
is
I'm
now
here to
loaded.
find out whether or not that's an accurate assessment. I sure hope you don't disappoint. We only take the best at Nite Team 4.
We're
stands for Network Intrusion and Technical Evaluation. Your task is to identify, infiltrate,
getting a briefing
and
by
gather
some
intelligence
lady,
from computer systems
Sergeant,
used by enemies of the
who's
Black
called us a new
Watchmen.
recruit.
Governments are short on time and resources, so it's
She's
up
telling
to
us
us to
about
take
all
action.
kinds of stuff.
We address imminent global threats that can't wait for bureaucracy.
Well, we're really going to
We
have to
address
explore.
imminent global threats that can't wait for bureaucracy. So basically, this is high horsing the notion of being an unaccountable hacking department that is part of the army, it sounds like.
Well, if it works for the PLA, it'll work for us.
There you go. You never know. That might have a lot of bureaucracy behind it. The PLA. So Academy, we're in.
Select the Stinger OS Basic certification in the panel on your left. That will bring up an
So
information
select the
screen
Stinger
on your
OS
right.
Basics
Then click
panel.
Access Certification to begin training. Good luck, recruit.
Okay. Stinger OS Basics. I mean, it's all very pretty. We've got to say that as a start. I mean, the UI is pretty
Yeah,
luscious.
it's quite
actually.
slick, isn't it?
Yeah. So.
I don't think there are
OS.
many desktop environments in Linux that are this flat.
No, I know exactly. I was gonna say. I mean, look, you've got like a 3D kind of, almost a 3D Milliways dome in the middle that you can wobble around.
Globe spinning around. Yeah, look at that. That's a proper modelling job, isn't
It's
it?
got the Eye of Sauron in the middle of it. So this includes Phase 1, Phase 2, and Phase 3 being ready. Access certification. Initiate Phase 1.
The Stinger
Okay, com check 1217.
1127.
1127.
Hey, this is Agent Dylan. I'll be your wingman during training.
Okay, thanks,
Word of
Agent
advice,
Dylan.
It's always the know-it-alls who make the biggest mistakes. And we can't afford mistakes, so keep a level head. As Wheeler explained,
Half,
you're starting
I'm
basic and
going to
building
try
up
not
from
to
there.
talk over the
Go to
audio, even though you
information
can't hear
gathering
it.
menu on your left and launch the fingerprint module.
Yeah, when we
Drag
get
the window
to
around a bit and, complete
typing
the test
things,
by
well,
typing
well,
the
I'll-
command help. Easy, right?
we'll work it out.
So basically, we're being taught how to use the information gathering tools. Apparently.
Oh, okay.
So go to the information gathering menu on your left and launch the fingerprint module, drag the window around a bit and complete the test by typing the command help. Right, well that's fairly straightforward. Start training. I mean, wow. There's a lot of steps. This tutorialization. I thought it was going to make me do it here. It wants me to click the start training button and then do 4 steps that it's outlined in multiple different bullet points already. So right, we're clicking here. Yeah. Wow.
I like the Triforce, by the way. That's a nice addition.
Where was that?
The middle section, the triangle that was moving around, had become a Triforce by the time the training kicked underway.
Right, so help. Here's a list of available commands in this terminal. Fingerprint, exit, purge. So, should we try fingerprint? What's that going to do? Invalid parameter. We need a target. Right, well, fingerprint. Extranet new stream live. .ca.
No copy and paste?
I don't think so, no. Right, that didn't give us anything. I assume we've completed that module. Go back. No. Wow.
Excellent.
Yeah. No, we
Let's
did.
follow basic orders. That's not as common as you'd imagine.
No, there you go.
The Stinger OS lets you
We're being
access resources from other
congratulated
divisions
for
like
following
Black
orders.
Watchmen. Division 40 is in charge of IMINT, the Imagery Intelligence Section, and MASINT, the Measurement and Signature Intelligence. They provide you with satellite feeds and drone coverage during operations. You can access these services at the bottom of your screen. Division 40 is the fourth icon from the left. Click it and enter the following coordinates.
We can get satellite feeds and drone coverage during ops.
Once you activate the satellite, click the back to globe link to
Oh,
enter
really?
task.
This is wandering then, isn't it?
Yeah, it's I mean, it's pretty heavily militaristic. Tab auto completes. You can copy and paste, Shep said. Well, I couldn't. It wasn't letting me highlight anything to copy and paste, but I'll try next time. So, open the drone and imagery module at the bottom of your screen. Enter coordinates 38 latitude and -77 longitude. Click the back to globe link. So, can you remember those, Path? 38 lat, -77 long?
Yeah, I got it. Sorry.
Drone tab, enter coordinates.
Intelligence active.
Okay. Was it 38?
38
And
was
-77?
and -77, yeah.
Cool. I thought it was going to be longer before. Deploying satellite imagery. What does that mean?
I'm trying to work out where that is. That must be somewhere in. I don't know if it's somewhere in.
Looks like it's New York.
Eastern Europe. New York.
Oh, it's the Pentagon.
-77.
It's the Pentagon, apparently. Device vehicle tracking enabled. It's interesting. So, well, I wanna see what vehicle we're gonna track. Frankly.
I can tell you from experience, tracking Teslas is quite boring. So if it's one of them, don't bother.
Well, we've completed that training as well now. So back to certification. Before completing this, I want you to check your agent profile and change your avatar.
It's at the top left of your Stinger OS. Change your avatar and return here to finish this certification.
Okay. Avatar. Honey Badger. Emblems. We should put the off-grid logo on. Well, that'll do, I guess. Right. So, whew. Well, I think we're actually going to get on to doing something interesting now. Certification granted. Real life references, goldfish attention span, Carly Pins. That's strange. It's got links to real things down the right hand side here.
Right.
Well,
real life references, yeah.
So I mean, I think that just links to Metasploit. External, you're about to move. Yeah, we don't need to go and look at Metasploit. Hold escape to go back. Hit escape to go back.
Yeah, surely they would have referenced the NSA's own tooling if they wanted to do this. It's not like that's
it's not secret anymore. Right,
No,
our next thing is basic OSINT. So I guess let's check that out. How do I drag the globe to explore all the areas? Oh no, it says no. That's Stinger Basic. Right, yeah. Phase 1 ready. Access certification. Okay, I'm starting to get my head around this.
I'm impressed. Agent Dillon
interface.
seems keen to train you. He must see some potential. All right, you've completed your first certification. You have another 29 left. You don't need to do it all, but if you are curious, you're welcome to.
29 more certs to get.
Certifications are about command lines and typing text.
I assume one of those is CEH.
Other forms of investigation like digital forensics
Well, I hope
or
not.
signal intelligence. We'll learn them soon enough, but you have to master the command line first. It's a
Oh, we've got to
standard
master the
weapon
command
and a
line
ready
first.
one. Some of the
It's going to be tricky. Right, I'm just skipping over her audio.
And I love this part. It's fun to see what you newbies are made of and separate the wheat.
Yeah, RTFM usually solves the little deal for you.
Domain name reconnaissance.
Help
You'll
command
need the
man
DNS
pages.
and vhost mapping module, which you'll find in the information gathering menu. The first command you've got to learn is the S-fuzzer.
Right, we're going back to the
S-fuzzer
S-fuzzer that we
launches
looked at
an
earlier, it looks like.
old-fashioned dictionary attack against the domain name, trying thousands of the most common subdomains used on the net. If you S-fuzz a domain name like NiteTeam4.com, the dictionary will first try the obvious www before moving on to other subdomains like mail, FTP, or extranet.niteteam4.com. Each time a domain name answers positively to an S-fuzzer request, it will show as active. Since that's all automated, you just need to decide how long to run the dictionary attack. The longer you run it, the more words it tries, and the more potential.
I suppose I should just check that the folks watching can hear the audio for the game loud enough to be able to follow along, or whether they just want me to read out over the top.
Well, what are you waiting for?
So, Green John and Shep's Life, do say as to whether the audio is loud enough.
Dictionary attack on the domain name NiteTeam4.com. If you get stuck, follow the instructions on the
Green John says, yeah, you can hear it. Good. Right, so I wasn't listening to that properly, but basically they want us to use the S-fuzzer tool. Attack starts with the most common words. 10 to 20 seconds is good enough to benchmark for easy targets. What are you waiting for? You're the one who needs to get certified, not me. Open that DNS and vhost module and launch a 10-second attack on the NiteTeam4.com domain. If you get stuck, follow the instructions on the terminal. Right. So, and -T is the
time.
one for time. So, info gathering, DNS and vhost.
Information gathering module. Initiated.
S-fuzzer. It was domain first, wasn't it? Yeah.
It shouldn't matter.
NiteTeam4.com. -T. Well, it said to do it for 10 seconds, but let's do it for 15. Hivemind, test.NiteTeam4.com. Still going. server.194.com. No forums. Right, so that's that complete. I think we're allowed to.
That's not bad.
I don't know whether it's going to give us. Yeah, completed. Right, it wants to start OSINT scan Nite.team4.com.
Another way of finding domain names is through a search engine's database, like Google, Yahoo, Bing, and the likes.
So let's
isn't as useful anymore.
Just skip that. So enter the command OSINT scan Nite.team4.com-s Google.com-d 500. Okay. So.
Information gathering module initiated.
I don't think it is letting me copy and paste. Either that or I'm being stupid. Maybe a smidge louder. Okay, let me just pop back in and pipe that up a little. Hopefully that's a bit louder for you all. Path, can you say something so that I just make sure that we're not too loud?
Test.
Might peak a little.
I'll speak lower.
It only lets you click certain areas to copy data. Okay, right. So you can't copy paste all things, which would make it all a lot easier. But at the same time, I suppose we'd be teaching bad habits for things that you're pasting into a bash terminal.
Yeah, there are only certain things you want to. Yeah, that's it. Depends.
Well, you know the old adage: don't paste it if you don't understand it. At the very least. Right. So
Yeah,
we're gonna.
We're in a pseudo Kali interface now, and as far as I know, that's something they teach you to do when you learn how to use that. Just run everything.
Just run
as
it all.
root. Yeah, in one command, just launch the whole thing.
Right, so we're scanning Google. We've got 100 results, 200 results, 300 results, 400 results, and that's all the same stuff. Although we've found an Apache server now, and code.Nite.team4, and we have an IP address for their test server. So that's handy.
I can't quite see it.
What's that?
You said the Apache server scrolled past your view.
It just says apache.Nite.team4.com. We don't have the IP for that.
Okay, it's just a named sub then, rather than knowing it's definitely Apache running on it.
True enough, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Although you'd have thought it's probably not just disinformation. Right. Continue training.
Excellent work.
Agent
You know,
Dylan's
Not
very
enough.
happy with us.
Expertise to
People
quickly
use
identify
like the
potential-
wrong naming conventions for their servers just to mess people around. Like if you're running something like Jenkins, you would call your subdomain if you had an internal for people to try and jump around if they popped you. Call it something completely wrong like MySQL or whatever. Watch them.
Just confuse it.
They don't and try and slam the wrong thing. I don't know. You don't.
That's only going to, hold people off for a small amount of time.
You'd
you
be
think-
surprised.
Really, once people think they know where they are, they don't think laterally.
So, from people spraying, for example, one of the most popular things people try and spray around is SQL injection, and they just blast a site in full with these things, right? And I've seen people obviously trying to paste things together, and I've seen sites that have returned what looks like a vulnerable response, but based on the way they've crafted their statement, the logic construction nulls itself out, so they will never be able to get a successful command run based on how it's been put together.
Right.
And you see this kind of stuff all the time, where you think, well, you've had enough of the wherewithal to try and put some kind of attack together, which isn't just some tool you spray, and yet you're going to be hammering the site for 2 days and get absolutely nowhere and not realize why. Quite funny.
I was about to ask how often you've managed to observe that kind of thing, but that would not be the right kind of thing to be delving too deep into anyway.
No, quite a lot, though. Yeah, quite a lot. Okay, so a more recent example, if people have been keeping up to date with their vulnerabilities, there was one that came out not too long ago for WebLogic. WebLogic is a nice Java web framework that you would use, made by Oracle. Mm-hmm. And what people had done is they'd taken the place where they knew the vulnerability existed, and they took the payloads from a different vulnerability, and they just tried to smash the place they knew it was supposed to be with a payload that would never work. It would never work. It had been put in place about a year or so ago. And the funny part of it is people thought it would work because everybody's been testing their exploits against images you find for WebLogic. Except that these Docker images are about 2 or 3 years old, the ones that you would find online. So everybody's showing their little videos where they go, look at this successful thing, this payload works. Of course it works. You're testing it against a stack that hasn't been updated since it was first put together 2 years ago. So the old vulnerability still works. If you smash that against the new vulnerability, it works. But I think there was something like 60 or 70,000 attempts that I had seen at one point for this vulnerability. And there were about 100 that were close to actually getting it right.
Yeah.
That's the numbers. I mean, I'm smashing it.
And that was literally just them not running the right version of the thing that they were trying to run the attack against.
It was them doing their exploit testing against a stack so old that it inherited other vulnerabilities, and they were actually defeating the older vulnerabilities with their payload, not the newer one. But they didn't realize this. So when they were spraying the internet, they were assuming what they were spraying would definitively work.
Right.
Quite amusing.
So I'm running OSINT scan against that IP address that was discovered before. Looks like that's worked. It's just given us the test domain again. Right. How do I get back to the training? Here we go. Okay, we've got our certification. I don't want to replay that certification, I want a new one. Congratulations. That's interesting. So, I mean, the real life references keep changing. So now, DNS reconnaissance, Kali DNS recon, penetration guide to subdomain enumeration are the links. So it's attempting to point people in the right direction.
Yeah, I mean, are they links? Would they lead somewhere?
Yeah, they are, definitely. Which one do you want to look at?
Right. Oh, no, believe me, I don't want to spend any time reading about Kali Linux any more than I have to.
No. I must be in the terms and conditions that they're saying that you're not allowed to use any of this, and it's not really training you how to do any of these things in real life. And
no, and
something like that. It must be some kind of disclaimer.
Yeah, it's kind of, it's showing you the concept and the process, but if you were to try and run these commands as you have typed them, the things that they've named don't exist. I mean, maybe there is something out there called OSINT scan, but they're showing you, oh, and by the way, in the real world, and I think it might just be, I don't know, it's weird. Are they trying to springboard people into looking further in this? Because essentially this could be a fantastically embellished sort of almost recruitment gaming thing.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't be surprised. I think they're Canadian, the developer, and they've listed themselves as indie. So there's definite Five Nights potential. It could be.
Not necessarily.
What was this? The CIA? Don't they have like a startup funding arm?
I'm not gonna accuse them of being related, but if you imagine somebody enjoying this game and seeing real life references to how this activity is performed with the names of the tooling, then you might be garnering enough of an interest. But again, you're framing it as being, you're an agent, you're on that side of it, you're doing the thing in that manner. I don't know.
I don't know
I would be... It looks like it's done really well though, the whole game so far.
Yeah, I mean it's very nicely put together in terms of its looks. I think the tutorials are a little bit like there's this rule when you're putting together a tutorial, or actually it works across other things to do with UX, including if you're doing slides and presentations for work or whatever else, is that you never put the text for something on screen at the same time as you're saying it, and you never put an image for something on at the same time as the text for it, because if you double up, basically people's brains switch off. So you need to tell people things sequentially and preferably only in one form. Otherwise the information doesn't go in, and there's a little bit of kind of doubling up going on where you get the audio where they tell you what you're supposed to be doing, there's the text that shows you to the left hand side, and then there's a set of bullet points down the bottom, and actually then it tells you which buttons to press after the fact. And so by the time you've kind of tried to follow along, you've forgotten the last thing that you were trying to remember. But that's only a minor complaint. So we can go to advanced OSINT now.
Oh.
Let's click on that.
Okay.
You're almost there.
We're almost there.
Time to play around with the tools you've learned.
No, just skip all of the audio stuff. So time to play around with the DNS and vhosts module. Enter sfuzzer Nite Team.com T4 and T5 and T20. It wants us to use sfuzzer for 2 different lengths of time to notice contrasting results. I'd already done that by not paying attention to what you said last time. Okay.
Yeah, they might be training agents though who might, follow the rules and therefore.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's probably the worst part of attempting to train up, recruit hackers in your cyber offensive division. I would have thought is the fact that they're probably all used to saying yes sir and following the rules, which is not part of the culture really.
Yes.
So, what did it say? You use sfuzzer on Nite Team 4 for 2 different lengths of time. Uh, 5 seconds. Right. And then for 20, I think it said for the second one.
Yeah, that sounds right. It's interesting they made you do that, because there are certain situations where you would run certain types of enumeration for different lengths of time.
But that's normally always going to be the longest length of time you can run it for.
Yeah, so
you're never going to want to enumerate something for not very long if you're looking for stuff.
Well, without going into too much detail, imagine you were targeting a specific service on a specific port, and you had a few thousand to go through.
Yeah.
You'd want to automate it. Yeah. But you don't want to automate it to an extent where it's going to take you, a year to do.
Yeah.
You've got to make the right call for what kind of time. So imagine you've also got some funky networking involved. That means that you're adding network latency.
Mm-hmm.
running something for 20 seconds versus 40 seconds is going to be the difference between doubling how long the entire thing is going to take and yet potentially missing information.
Yep.
There are periods of time where you know, I'm not going to run this for, not on an individual box, but if you've got to go through an entire range of things, then...
Yeah, if you're going to run on a whole bunch of different systems that you're iterating through.
Yeah.
So, we've done SFuzzer and OSINT, both run an SFuzzer 500 deep and a 500 deep OSINT. It's making me repeat the same stuff again. It wants me to do Wow.
You've already done phase 2, have you not?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it wants me to do it again. It wants to, in order to see the difference between them. But I swear we've done that already. Right. So, SFuzzer against Nite Team 4 for 15 seconds, and OSINT scan against Nite Team 4 on Google for 500 results.
Information gathering module initiated.
I mean, this is one of those things that, like, I suppose, sort of, anytime someone tutorializes something, it's very hard to get the balance right? You want to repeat stuff enough.
So that people have familiarity.
Yeah.
The other thing is, you might remember that we might be dealing with, if people are not necessarily too comfortable in a command line setting,
yes,
whereby there's a difference between sort of having some experience in it and regularly knowing roughly how most commands are going to work in terms of a structure. So getting people fluid in doing that.
Yes.
Fair enough, maybe.
Yeah. It was 10 seconds it wanted me to do the SFuzzer for, wasn't it? Do you know what's really annoying? You can't queue up your next command while they're doing a search or running a script. Well, I've done it for 10 seconons. Right, and so then it wanted a 500 deep OSINT scan on the same
500 results.
What was it called? OSINT
scan. But did it say earlier you can tab complete?
Yeah, you can auto tab complete. I suppose I've done those commands before. No, your bash history only goes back for each time you've opened that terminal, which makes sense, I guess.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, you wouldn't want to. Yeah, that would be a buffer nightmare, wouldn't it, across the whole game?
Yeah. Right. OSINT scan 19.4. Team4.com. Search google.com. Was it D500? Must have been.
Yeah.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, this is all the same results as before. Oh, hang on. It wants us to do that for 15 seconds instead of 10. So I was wrong there.
Yeah, I'll tell you why. Because when you did it for 15 earlier, I'm pretty sure I noticed something that came up right at the end of it that you would otherwise not have seen.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, there's something that right at the very end. I think there was like 1, 5, 7, and then there's one at 15. There's 5.
It's just server.nite.team4. We had that.
You jump past. You can't. Yeah, do you see it? Time 15.
Yeah, but that's server.nite.team4.
So when we first ran that, we got that because we did 15. But if you'd have run it for 10, you wouldn't have seen it.
Right. Okay.
So I
it's
think
just because the fact that I'd already mucked about and put more time in, we've already seen it.
Yeah, we'd got that extra result. Yeah.
Okay. So we've got an incoming transmission.
Excellent. Time for a little test.
You can use the virtual
so far then.
on the right.
Forums.niteteam4.com. Use what you've learned so far to find
N0X00, that's
long
Carol.
S-fuzzer or
Carol's
really
saying you can
OS
use the
fuzzer.
virtual desktops
You might
on
also
the right.
find it in another
Oh,
search
right,
engine's
okay, what,
database.
to fling
Despite what
different
the marketing
terminals
team
into?
says, Google isn't the
That
only
makes sense. Okay, so this next one. Time for a little test. I've hidden the subdomain forums.niteteam4.com. Use what you've learned so far to find it. Maybe a long S-fuzzer or a really deep OSINT scan. You might also find it in another search engine's database. Despite what their marketing team says, Google isn't the only one out there. Go for it. So we have to find forums.niteteam4, basically, using one of those two tools.
Okay.
Is the answer. So, yeah. So Carol's saying basically I can throw.
I reckon you would want to do S-fuzzer for, I don't know, 30 seconds.
There we go. That makes sense. It's going to be a lot quicker. Control M for DNS, Control F for fingerprint. What were you saying, Path? You reckon S-fuzzer for?
I don't know, 30 seconds, 40 seconds, and let it run.
I keep writing
But I think the other, like they want you to use another engine again. I don't know.
So Alta Vista then.
I'm trying to remember what Harvester has. Because Harvester at one point had Showdown in there as well, and
Right.
the mistake of the developer in the early version was that he left his Showdown key in there. So suddenly everybody had a Showdown.
Well, we could try that.
But
So 40 seconds on the S-fuzzer. Can we? Is that is running in the background? So we could actually, hopefully, open another terminal and run.
Information gathering module.
Yeah, we
I wonder if Control
I mean,
Shift T for new terminal.
Control Shift T. Don't know.
Yeah, that would give you normally. It would
Well, the thing
a new
is, these
terminal.
terminals aren't. They're not really terminals. They're meant to be representing
Yeah.
each individual tool. So.
Whether they. I see. You have to open it that way. Okay. Right.
Oh, we've apparently completed it. we found it just by running it for 40 seconds. So there you go.
Oh, there you go.
But yeah, these are handy. I'm gonna basically thanks for the tip there, Carol. That's pretty handy. I think that will speed things up a touch. So now that we can keep some terminals open easily, we should be able to rush through some of these things a little easier. Right. I just don't want to replay any certifications. Right. Fingerprinting now.
Time to learn more about
So what they're doing
Reminds
is they're
the bottom
talking.
left, you can check the game shortcuts.
To scan the
So,
www
have a look for that. Thanks,
subdomain,
Shepsler.
type fingerprint www.
What were you going to say,
It
Park?
seems in their real life references, what
Mhm.
they're doing is they're talking about it, but oh look, I'm
Was-
pretty sure I'm reading OpenVAS there.
Yep. And
OpenVAS
pause
is a
scanner.
big scan type thing, but what they haven't done is they haven't expressly named the tools they have based the tooling you're using on here from. So I mentioned that.
Yeah, and they're using different flags, yeah, and different names for commands, but I mean,
I think the flags are pretty close.
yeah,
But
it's just the tool name.
yeah, I'm pretty sure they've modelled S-fuzzer off something called subbrute, which does the same thing, subdomain brute force, right? So they haven't made that very last link, which is probably how they're getting away saying we're not training people how to do this.
Well, that'll be interesting when we get to the social engineering toolkit, though, because I mean, you know, they've named the tool exactly what it is, and it basically just sends out a load of phishing emails, which, I mean,
yeah, they have named that. I don't know then. I suppose you have to do more than. I mean, I don't know how they've modelled it, right? But you have to do a little bit sometimes to actually get that going. Whereas with subbrute, you could just do what you've essentially done there. Same with Harvester.
Information gathering module Initiated.
So we're gonna fingerprint Nite Team 4.com. And it'll look, it's gonna check active ports. Well, that's done nothing. We've done that wrong. We've got no results from that.
Is there a time flag again? Or is there a way that you can specify more than... So again, fingerprint here looks pretty much like it's trying to model Nmap.
Yeah.
By default, Nmap will only hit, I think by default it hits the first 1024 ports as the reserve ports. I can't remember.
It says that target is the only parameter it takes. And it doesn't have any flags listed in the help. So that is meant to be it. I mean, maybe, does it need to be www.19.4 rather than 19.4? Try that. Have I misspelt it? Oh, here we go. Got a little green blip. So yeah. Well, apparently I needed to use the right subdomain. So port 80 Apache up to date apparently. So that's completed that one. Right. Yep. So that's
just as a I double checked just as a correction. It doesn't scan the first 1024 reserved. It scans the most common 1,000 as an default. I just didn't want to leave that out there.
Yep. Can't have the public face of our organization vulnerable to attack. And
out of how many possibilities?
65,535. That's how many ports you have.
Yep.
But yeah, most common 1,000 services essentially on the most common 1,000 ports, as opposed to everything. That's why you put your SSH listening on something random in the like 10,000 range, so that. Look at it.
Well, you cut out their path.
That's why you don't leave your SSH on 22. You put it somewhere high up in the 10,000 range.
Yeah.
And then people think it's some connection you have somewhere else, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Or it's some other service. And instead of hitting that, they're trying to hit 22 because you've put something else there to kind of mess them about.
Mm-hmm.
Change all your ports around is the key message. If you can.
So, it wants me to fingerprint test.19.4 as the next one. These virtual workspaces are good, but it keeps closing the window for me, unfortunately. So it's not actually doing me many favors.
Module initiated.
Oh, that's the wrong one.
Information gathering module initiated.
Right.
So far we've got.
Here we go.
We've
Port
pretty
21.
much completed.
Pretty much completed.
Pretty much completed the main workflow for most skids.
Yeah.
That's the way.
Scanning some ports, doing some searches.
Yeah. All we need to do now is upload it to Pastebin with ASCII art, and we are maybe 60% of the hacking groups of the last 10 years. How about that?
There you go. So port 21 has VSF TPD running. port 80 Apache, 110 POP3.
Excellent.
So yeah, let's see what it wants us to do with it next, I guess.
Again, I don't know. It's a shell. So when you open this shell, can you only use the commands available for this specific shell? You can't try commands from other stuff, right? Okay.
No, exactly. So so it makes it a little bit kind of more about remembering the interface to find the tool rather than remembering the tool name, which is.
So this is kind of almost how. I don't know what Kali does with it now, but this is what Kali Precursor Backtrack did, whereby you had your start menu, and it had the same kind of categorization, so recon bit, sort of data gathering. You click it, and sometimes it literally just opens you a terminal having initialized that command. Although, of course, if you're depending on which tool you're using, you would have access to the rest of the shell as well. But they did essentially allow you to do that. You could kind of point and click open your command line tools via a menu.
It seems unnecessary though.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, it's for people who require that, right?
Right. So he's now opened up a vulnerable server for us to have a look at called server.niteteam4.com that he wants us to fingerprint. So that's what we'll do now. It's meant to have, I guess, an out-of-date version of one of those technologies on one of the ports. Oh, right. It just lists it as vulnerable. It doesn't tell us the version. So there's an MySQL 5.521 on port 3306.
Excellent. Take the lot.
It's not really told me how or what to do with it yet.
Well, it depends on the vulnerability, but yeah, I'm sure there's a tool they have somewhere to do with SQL.
Well, surely
you just point at it, right?
Yeah, there's got to be some kind of SQL injection tool, you'd have thought.
One or two mmap, I don't know if they're plugins or extensions, but they also do a similar thing for you. They'll say, probably vulnerable here.
You can run the fingerprint command from the DNS shell. Oh, right, okay. It will just open the fingerprint shell. Oh, that's good. And Carol's saying you can also tab to autocomplete. Right, so that's that cert granted. Next. Exploit DB. Yep, so that'll be where we're looking for what to do with vulnerable ports.
Yep,
servers.
Same as real life.
So, access that certification. There's a lot of kind of extra clicking that goes on.
Vector. Pull up your DNS and
Let's start with a normal attack vector. Pull up your DNS and vhost mapping and fingerprint modules to find a vulnerable technology in the domain freekevin.net. Right.
Excellent.
Well, we're after Mitnick apparently. So. Okay.
Information gathering module initiated.
So we're just going to sfuzz freekevin. I don't know what, for 30 seconds. Keep getting to put the flag. And then we can also run the
Information
OSINT
gathering module initiated.
scan. Oh, no, it's got to be google.com. Right. What results did we get on the other one? 3 domains, forums.freekevin, webmail.freekevin. Right, so we were going to try fingerprinting. Well, shall we... What do you reckon?
Forums sound.
You reckon forums most likely to be insecurity? We've got
well,
the main domain and webmail and forums so far.
Yeah, I'd probably try and check forums, really. People leave their forums outdated quite frequently.
Yeah. So you can have multiple shells open on one workspace also. Oh, okay. Right, I keep switching between workspaces thinking I need to change it. Cool, thanks, Shep's Life.
I'm guessing they'll both have something, though.
Yeah, I would have thought so too. So,
Information gathering module initiated.
there we go. Well, the forums are up to date. So the other one was mail, right? Fingerprint.
Webmail it was, I believe.
Webmail. Yeah, you're right.
Oh, they kept their forums up. Again, unusual in the sort of small community forum setting.
Well, yeah, often because just patching forum software is a pain in the ass.
Yeah. If you're trying to chase credit card fraud people in various non-Western areas, you most of the time run into old vulnerable V bulletins or PHPBB.
Well, we're not having any luck on these results so far. We might have to run a longer scan.
Oh yeah, advanced OSINT. Add 20 seconds, right?
Yeah, exactly. I've already run a different scan on another workspace, so we can go back and check the results on that in a second. Let's just try the main domain. I was saying fingerprint won't let you know if you've misspelt something. Have I been misspelling something? I probably have. Webmail, no, that's correct. Forums, that looks correct. Shep's Life, did you see me misspell something, or that's just a general tip? That's just forums as well. Let's try OSINT scan. Was for future reference. Cool. Okay, that's. I will bear that in mind.
Otherwise, SFA. Right?
Yeah, and just run it for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, actually.
Oh, hang on. With this one, how many results did you ask for?
I asked for 500, so I mean, and I could do it on Bing instead of Google.
Put it up to 800 or 900 instead.
Right, give that 50 seconds on there as well. 900 results. We've got intranet.freekevin.net.
There you go.
Information gathering module initiated.
What's happened there? Oh, it's just very noisy terminal that we've opened. There we go. Okay, we seem to have found a vulnerable server on intranet. It's got SharePoint 2007 is out of date on port 8082. So, it didn't tell us how to search on Internet DB, but we on Exploit DB. But
is it one
I
of
did
the,
see that earlier. Exploit databases. Click on it and just have a play.
Gathering module initiated.
Run help command. Search exploit. SharePoint 2007. What? Search exploit. I misspelled that. That says search pilot. Oh, what? Yeah, I'm still misspelling it. SBuzz knows that OSI only use domains. Only thing about tab complete, it doesn't work with commands from a different shell.
right?
So that's CVE 2010-3964 unrestricted file upload vuln in the document conversions launcher service in Microsoft Office SharePoint server. When the document conversions load balancer service is enabled, allows remote attackers to execute arbitrary code via custom SOAP request to TCP on port 8082, aka malformed request code execution vulnerability.
Right.
Preferred
Very
delivery method, TCP over IP. Exploit to use custom SOAP request.
So they've got it quite accurate in terms of having to chain bits together.
Yep.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
So, I mean, I guess we're moving into trying to work out what attack it wants us to use for doing that. I guess what I should do is probably just follow the tutorial and let it tell us what to do.
Yeah, and I'm not writing XML crap for SOAP requests, so you best read the tutorial for that. It is interesting though, because that is.
Well, like
I think they've modeled
that
after something specifically.
That particular CVE, you mean?
It doesn't sound far away from a lot of things like that. Like the actual vulnerability is only there's two things there. One's the unrestricted upload, but two is the unrestricted API call, the SOAP call, right? So you'd mitigate that by either filtering who can upload with auth and also filtering who can make requests. But that chaining mechanism of having to do one thing one place and then call it via another mechanism is fairly common along those things. So they've definitely, whoever is behind this either knows the deal or has definitely spoken to the right people about it.
Well, I would have thought they probably already knew. I'd have thought they probably already knew a little bit at the very least, because you just wouldn't start off making something that you're intending to make realistic, I suppose, if in inverted commas, without having some idea, like you said, of what the game is, what the deal is. Right, so I think the next training is going to tell us how to make use of that exploit.
Awesome.
Awesome, let's go for one more exploit with the command search exploit. CRM 4.0, then we can launch into the juicy stuff, network intrusion. Right, so it wants us to search for a different exploit. Oh, I should have paid attention. Oh no, it is telling me what to do. Yeah, it's fine.
Information gathering module initiated.
Yeah. Right, that's a UDP vulnerability apparently. CVE 2003-0352. This module exploits a stack buffer overflow in CRM's RPCSS service or the IPC listener via DCOM. Custom crafted SOAP request can execute code via UDP. This vulnerability was originally found by the last stage of Delirium Research Group and has been widely exploited ever since. This module can exploit the English versions of Windows NT, 4.0 SP3-6A, Windows 2000, Windows XP, Windows 2003, all in one SOAP request. Newer versions of Microsoft products may not be protected against it. Delivery method UDP, custom SOAP request. So it's another custom SOAP vuln. So there we go, certification granted.
There's a nice little SharePoint RCE that came out this year that people are using to target Saudi Arabia with at the minute.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I think so. I'll see if I can dig out the CD on it. But it's not too far off what we... Like, I don't know if they... I don't know when
this only came out
looks like
couple of months ago at most.
Basic terminal operations. What better way to end than a chance to play with the infamous Fox Acid server?
Yeah, they didn't really make that many headlines because it was mostly only seen throwing something against Saudi Arabia, I think.
Well, it's about to get us to use Fox Acid, which is is that a real NSA tool?
Our upgrade comes
Fox
with
Acid.
Outbound automated exploit script, so we can now actively attack
no, I mean, so
a
lot of the naming conventions for things people associate came out of the Shadow Brokers dumps, and where they had lots of fun names like Eternal Blues, one everyone know.
I wouldn't be surprised if it is, because I mean,
this is a small footprint kernel.
Fox Acid. Let me check.
Because it says here that developed by the NSA for their tailored access operations unit, and TAO is obviously a real.
Yeah, they are. They're real. So I'm not sure. So there were two Shadow Brokers dumped. One was about firewall stuff, and one was about Windows stuff. And we're talking maybe 50 different things across them both. Some of which are the names of the tooling implant, and some of which are the actual exploits themselves. I'm just gonna.
It says the original version of the software was mostly used for inbound queries. A visitor had to call the Fox Acid server to get infected. Our upgrade comes with thousands of outbound automated exploit scripts, so we can now actively attack a target instead of waiting for them to come to us. Civilian tools like Armitage are also useful. Armitage is a real tool as well. But our version...
Armitage is, but Armitage is a...
It's a lot more.
I wouldn't take Armitage too seriously.
For now...
You would...
Go
on. Yeah, yeah, don't worry too much about Armitage. If you were to see the front page of their setup, you'd see what I mean. Right. Fox Acid, yeah, it was a real one, but it's from a little bit further away than the Shadow Brokers one.
Yeah.
Fox Acid was one of the things disclosed in Snowden information, as far as I remember then.
Oh, right. So for now, we'll give you access to basic scripts. Your task is to infect cyberdynegroup.net and install the After Midnight rootkit. It looks like that's a real rootkit as well, because that's in the real life references. This is a small footprint, kernel space, persistent rootkit will provide backdoor access to their network. After this task, it will complete basic operations. It's called After Midnight, the rootkit.
Oh, yeah, no, I haven't. Doesn't ring a bell, but...
Then you can move into advanced training or take on your first official mission. Here we go.
You're almost done.
Find a vulnerable technology on
Find a
Cyberdyne
vulnerable
Group.
entry point for the domain cyberdynegroup.net. Follow the instructions in your objectives. You're almost done.
Right. So...
Information gathering module initiated.
So, S-Fuzzer, we'll just run it for a much longer time. Cyberdyne is a real company though, right? As well as obviously the makers of Skynet in...
Yeah, I thought it was some... wasn't it was somebody in... I want to say Kenya had a company, Cyberdyne.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I think so. Or was it Skynet LLC? I can remember one of them was... Let's check. Oh, no. Japanese? You're joking. This is surely not the real...
We got hi from X3N in Steam chat, which is nice to have noticed. I hope it wasn't too long ago. Thanks for joining us. Right, have I started running that search? I'm not sure I have. I have now.
Okay, so this is a bit nuts. There is a company called Cyberdyne in Japan. What do you think they make?
Robots.
Robotic exoskeleton suits.
Oh my god. Exo rather than intraskeleton, but I suppose it's not far away. Right, so like...
Well, yeah, all you have to do is put AI in that and have a controller for movement, and you've got a Terminator. They're making proto-Terminator exosuits in Japan under Cyberdyne.
I did think someone was doing something pretty mad with that company now. Well, are they? Is their website cyberdynegroup.net?
No, it's not.
Oh, that's a shame.
I think they'd be in real trouble if they modelled a hacking tool in the game against a real...
Oops. Right, how are we getting on here? VPN for Cyberdyne Group, mobile.cyberdyne Group. There's a few different things. Well, let's try fingerprinting the VPN, I suppose.
Information gathering module.
See, the fun part of this is pretty much everything they're referencing when they talk about the CVs they're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
They're talking about things technologies that even now are still the same exact things that seem to continually get popped.
Right.
And it's almost like people are teaching the lessons.
Well, it's
where the
almost
mistakes
like no one's listening. I mean,
almost.
I think the thing is, even though there is a move to make security a high priority that CEOs can get in trouble for and whatever else, there's just so many people running services or like spinning things up where they're in a hurry, or they're prioritizing their budget on getting the thing off the ground first, and then you know, they just don't make the time to go back and fix their quick spin up. So what we got here? KMTV says, isn't Boston Dynamics doing something similar to making those exoskeletons?
No, well, Boston Dynamics are just making Terminators in different forms and speed.
Well, dog-shaped kind of robots that do backflips.
Well, did you see the newest one I saw for backflipping dog is can now open doors?
Oh, I did see that. Yeah, that was worrying, wasn't it?
Yeah. So what they've done is they've brought Terminator and they've meshed it with the Black Mirror episode with the Killbot dogs, and they went, we're just going to keep making this. I mean, no one's stopping us. We're just going to keep making. We're going to improve our cyber cheaters.
When you say no one's stopping us, do you actually think anyone ever would? And like, I mean, there's no way to regulate against people tinkering with that kind of thing, and would you even want to? I mean, it's hard to say.
No, but what you find online is people. The total extent of somebody worried about it seems to be commenting on the YouTube video that they're worried about how this looks. This is a really scary thing, and you go, yep, and then you open a new tab and you do something else with your life. But don't forget Boston Dynamics, they're there.
So Shep's Life says for OSINT scan you can put a space between Google and Bing and search both at the same time, which is nice. That's a good
technology.
Good point. I will try that. Right, so now launch the exploit database and find the CVE record. Yeah, so I was going to do that. I've already started to. So search exploit. Oh man, yeah, okay, fine, I'll do it again.
Information gathering module initiated.
Search exploit Cisco VPN client. Right, so that's CV 2015-7600 Cisco VPN client 5x uses weak permissions for VPNC client.ini. What were you saying, Path?
I had to work on that one.
On this CVE?
Yeah.
Apparently this VPN client.ini is easy to spoof, which allows local users through UDP delivery to gain privileges by entering an arbitrary program name in the command field of the application launcher section.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure we're going to learn a bit more about how to actually make use of this now, so we'll see.
This is it.
So, open the network. So, open your Fox Asset server and enter all the attack parameters you saw in the CVE records. Take your time and make sure you've got the attack parameters on the left and the target parameters on the right. When you're ready, click in the center to launch the attack. You will deploy your After Midnight rootkit and install a Turbine C2 card, giving you full backdoor access to their network. Ready? Next time I speak to you, you'll be geared up for the big guns. Right. So, network intrusion menu, Fox Asset server module, enter the delivery method, enter the exploit, use the rootkit. There's so many objectives to this one that they go off the screen. So, network intrusion, Fox Asset server.
Server connection initiated.
Oh, that's interesting. I mean, I'm sure this isn't what it looks like at all, but I suppose the kind of delivery and exploit stuff I'm trying to remember what tool it was that they mentioned at the beginning that they were licensing to be able to represent alongside Kali OS. There was a specific tool, wasn't there? What was it?
Cobalt Strike.
Cobalt Strike,
not
yeah.
Cobalt.
So I mean, this is a little bit like Cobalt Strike in some sense.
So it's also very reminiscent of Fuzzbunch, which was the Shadow Broker's disclosure one with regard to Eternal Blue and everything. What you had was a Python script, Python 2.6 version script called Fuzzbunch. You load which thing you want to use and what you want to implant, and so the Eternal Blue example was you run Eternal Blue, it exploits against SMB, it implants something, and the classic chain people read about was double pulsar, which is your backdoor implant, and you then have access to that. That's what the NSA were using at the time.
Well, I mean, all this interface has been sort of, all of a sudden it's gone very gamey. So
yeah, Fuzzbunch did not look like this, I'll tell you.
So we've chosen the delivery method of UDP and the content spoofing exploit, and after midnight is the other thing that we can deploy is HVM mount.
Hypervisor mount.
So is that for doing hypervisor escapes, or?
I don't. Well, if we're talking about rootkits, I'm guessing it must reference launching some form of hypervisor virtual machine, enabling it at boot for it to sit quietly in the background doing whatever it's trying to do. I'm guessing that's what it might be referring to, something like that.
I've just managed to highlight something to see whether I can actually copy paste. You can copy paste, it's just hard to highlight stuff. Target technology, vpn.cyberdyne group. Target technology is Cisco VPN client.
Yeah, it's interesting that they're referencing actual CVEs and they're talking about hitting certain technologies.
Yeah. Port 4500, and the ports seem to be realistic as well for what services would be running, and
they've got
they be vulnerable.
the default SQL one they had earlier was on the right port 3306. So
yeah. So here we go. Couple of people chiming in. Here's a tip: the game doesn't tell you tab key autocompletes. Yeah, I keep forgetting to do that. Saves a lot of mistyping. Yeah, I should be auto-completing a bit more. And Shep's Life says, I think it's for HiveMind missions. If you click the spot to the right of the URL field, it will auto-complete the next 2 lines. Huh. To the right of the URL field. There's no spot. Do you mean in this tool, in the Fox Acid tool, Shep's Life? Well, I think this is all signed up and ready to go anyway. So it says known vulnerabilities 3. So we'll press the deploy button.
Fox
I guess.
Acid attack launched.
It's launched.
I'm guessing it went very gamey at this point because you'd have to otherwise type all of these out in something like Metasploit or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
You'd have to set your port, set your thing, set your payload.
But that's what I was saying. I mean, Cobalt Strike is actually a bit more like this. You don't have to do very much typing in Cobalt. It is.
I've not played around with it.
There is a terminal version of Cobalt, but there's a full GUI version where literally you pick your exploit, you pick the payload, you drop them in the slots on the GUI and press go, and you kind of. You do all your probing and whatever else in it as well, I believe. So you can filter turbine C2 network cards for toggling the 4 categories at the top of the screen. You can also search by name or address. What does that mean? So what's a Turbine C2 network card in this instance referring to, do you think?
So it sounds like what you've done is you've just simply backdoored something, and you can now leverage that backdoor with whatever they've called this card thing, but that's part of whatever this Turbine C2 network is. Mm-hmm. So essentially, the Turbine C2 network you're using going forward is a series of these boxes that you've already backdoored. So you either pivot out from them, or you would use them en masse like some kind of botnet. I'm guessing that's what you've just done. You've implanted something so that it's an asset, a remote asset you can use at a later date. And I'm just that the cards are the relevant registrations.
Yeah, so clicking on it has apparently deployed the rootkit. It just disappeared. I was doing something more interesting. What's going on here? VPN connection.
C2 registry initiated.
Disconnect. Nite Team 4 controlled. Agent controlled. Okay, right, so I see. So this page is meant to be a list of the devices you've gained access or control over that you've got root on. Some
I think
service.
So you'd either jump through them, or you'd use that to serve something you're going to use to infect something else, that kind of rubbish.
Completed.
Click on the hand on the right and select vpn.cyberdyinggroup.net. Click on the hand on the right. Oh, okay. Apparently I hadn't clicked the right thing to complete that, but it's all done.
To whom it may concern, it is with great pleasure that I, Sergeant Catherine Wheeler, recommend Agent 7491 for the rank of Security Analyst Level 1.
Sergeant Wheeler has promoted us to Security Analyst Level 1.
This agent is now ready for active duty.
We are now ready for active
duty. Grant
duty.
access to our Advanced Training Certification and Mission Center.
Fair enough.
I stand in strong belief that Agent 7491 will be a reliable addition to our organization and wish them a long and successful career in the agency. Respectfully, Sergeant Catherine Wheeler.
Right, so we're into story mode. Time to put your skills to the test. Start your main mission here by completing various operations around the globe using what you've learned from the Academy. We need you, Agent. Make us proud. So, here we go. Playback start. Current day.
Military-grade malware was stolen from Nite Team 4 by, as of yet unknown means. SAB believes Bureau 121 to be behind the leak, but they have no proof to back their claims.
That's
a similar leak of an NSA exploit in 2017 caused approximately $10 billion US.
So this storyline is based on Shadow Broker stuff, it sounds like.
C2 stands for command. Traces of it have recently been
The idea is your tools have been stolen and leaked, and they want you to try and track down who they think is
a Rolodex of covert access into a wide variety of networks. 4 hours ago, someone activated a piece of Nite Team 4 malware known as Blood Dove without a valid operation ID. The deployment was unauthorized and unrelated to any ongoing or sanctioned missions.
Interesting.
Your mission objectives are: connect to the Castle Ivy Turbine C2 card, use the WMI scanner to locate any local sheriff holders, use the password attack tools to gain access, locate the copy of our Blood Dove malware.
So it's Blood Dove malware that we've lost, and we want to try and... Well, there's some servers that we think it might have been stolen and dropped on.
Nite Team 4 has partnered with the US government. When a malware is deployed, it's automatically registered as what we call a Nite Team 4 has partnered with the US government.
I don't like listening to stuff. I prefer reading it. And these slides, it's given to you as like a slide presentation that you're being given in your briefing team room.
When a malware is deployed, it's automatically registered as what we call a Turbine C2 card. C2 stands for Command.
Right.
Nite Team 4 has partnered with the US government to operate the Turbine platform. This platform is an automated management and control system for a large and dynamic network of
I pause this so I can talk while
when a malware is deployed,
so the C2 card thing
is what we call a Turbine C2 card. C2 stands for Command and Control.
It's meant to just be the deployment of any malware, and C2 stands for Command and Control.
Each Turbine C2 card
so
has its
those C2 cards are basically, this is a deployed malware somewhere.
Of covert access into a wide variety of networks. 4 hours ago, someone activated a Nite Team 4 malware known as Blood Dove without a valid operation ID.
Activated something without a valid operation ID that we have to track down.
Sanctioned missions. Your mission objectives are: connect to the Castle Ivy Turbine C2 card. Okay,
I'll close this briefing document. I'm sure I'll get repeated. Right, primary objectives: connect to the Castle Ivy Turbine C2 card. Oh, it's gotten louder, so.
Someone's run something and it's called back and it doesn't have the right thing, but it's obviously still your tooling. You've got to jump to it. Is the crux? Is that right?
Yep. We've basically got to go to the server that it's been located as having called back from, get priv-esque, and try and find that malware to prove that that is the location and work out who it is that's stolen it, actually. So let's connect to the C2 card, inspect the network for potential repositories using a WMI scanner, crack the user account, and find any relevant files to help with the investigation. So...
Oh wow, your first mission. This is exciting. Sergeant Wheeler's briefing was pretty straightforward, but if you have any issues with your file browser and password attack tools, you can always come back to the Academy and complete your digital forensics training. Good luck. Make me proud.
Turbine C2 registry is a list of all the backdoor connections you have delivered and secured using the Fox Asset server.
Turbine C2 registry
Alright, there's the Castle Ivy one.
Connection completed.
Have I done that right? Inspect the network for potential digital repositories using WMI scanner.
Information gathering module initiated.
Well, that sounds about right.
Information gathering module initiated.
That's what you would do. What you'd use WMIC for.
Yeah, I'm just trying to work out how to. So it says dig will query the port and technologies used to host the app or the database on the target path. Example, dig srv-admin employee registry will query all ports and technologies hosted by the CRM app on the targeted server. I mean, maybe we go and do their advanced training so that we're not poking around blindly. Chef says,
well,
if you
they
didn't
all
know,
have help command.
What's that? I'll run help, yeah. What is the command? Dig. Dig into a network path to index all ports and technologies hosted within this server. Target internal WMI path. So Shep's Life says, if you didn't know, you can link your Twitch to Nite Team 4 to enable in-game drops for viewers. and special drops for you with 20 plus viewers for more than 15 minutes. Okay, so that must be what the account stuff is about. No, I didn't know about that, Sheps. So I'll have a look at that. So that would basically give you little perks in your game from watching me streaming. That's a nice touch. They've got some interesting Twitch gamification going on. I mean, the thing is, Path, I don't really know what the targets kind of
right. So with your card that you have, there should be either one of two things, I would guess. Either there would be some way to anchor whatever terminal input you're doing here through to that card specifically. I don't know if card interface itself, because you deployed after midnight. It looked like you did something and deployed it.
Well, I mean, I don't know whether I was looking at the wrong one or not, though. I mean,
Turbine C2
this is
registry.
Oh, that is connected. Yeah, it says that is connected. And that is after midnight, the symbol there, isn't it?
So if you've got an active connection to that,
yeah. Connection completed.
Does the fact that you've got that active,
yeah.
Does that so?
But we've
unless
still
they've
got
set
the
up
old setup for the Cisco VPN client that we were doing on CyberdyneGroup.net.
Right. But once you've got your connection to the other one, whichever the interface is for the other one, there should be some way to activate. Like if you've got, I don't know whether they've got it simply because you have that window at the forefront, the new one at the forefront, that whatever you type in the terminal ends up being destined for the thing that's currently active.
Maybe.
We don't know this, right?
So I mean, in Twitch, Shep's Life is saying targets the file paths from running a net scan. So I mean, net scan must be yet another tool.
Yeah.
Information gathering module initiated. Information gathering module initiated.
It's in the WMI shell. Okay. Oh right, it's example NetScan will run a scan within the internal network you're currently accessing. There you go. Yes, that is exactly what you said, Path. It's just that I didn't read the top note on the top of the terminal, and I required Shep's Life to tell me to read properly, basically.
Right, okay.
Thanks, Shep. So, run NetScan. Yeah, there you go. Scanning computer name from Win32 service. Path printer HP inkjet or user nlightman/$C. Right, so once we've got NetScan, then we can write dig and that path. One of those two paths. So.
Yeah, it's weird. Dig is a tool, an actual tool, but it's certainly nothing to do with that.
So the printer is up to date. And that user is up to date. So that doesn't help us.
What other things are available within the WMI shell?
I think it's only those two commands.
Right.
Type. Netscan,
So it
dig,
sounded like
exit, purge.
I mean, we've got that information. Is there another tool that will then allow? Because essentially, when you've net scanned, I'm guessing you're saying you've found two separate remote things on that same network. So you'd want to jump there to one of them somehow and Privesk, but that wouldn't be within the tooling here. That would be another one, right?
Maybe, yeah. Password attack.
Password
Perhaps.
attack and
Target
intrusion module
username.
initiated.
Please provide a target URL and target username to initialize your attack. Well, that's not any of the services we're looking at.
Yeah.
Finds the ID back for Hydra.
Information gathering module initiated.
Top right tells you your objective. Oh, right, yeah. Crack the user account with the password attack. Okay. Yeah. I'd forgotten that. We're here kind of digging around, trying to work it out for ourselves, and there's this big sentence in the top right-hand corner that just tells us exactly what we're supposed to be doing.
All right. Oh, well, it'd be nice if the real world had that as well, to be honest. Just click top right. Do that there. That'd be quite good.
So, crack the user account with the password attack. So, let me just...
You've got a username, haven't you? I can't see the text very well, you see.
User
I'm not
enlightenment. Sure. This is what I had. It's interesting, the page up, or the sort of bash history in your terminal ends pretty quickly.
Scroll back is pretty...
Your scroll back's really short. The buffer on your scroll back is really short.
Yeah, so you don't have any help message anymore, so you've got to remember what you've got to do.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Well, it's not the help message. It's that I thought I'd lost the username that we're after, but I have found it again. So, using the password attack.
Password attack and intrusion module initiated.
I need a target URL and what URL are we in though? We're in the we're meant to be in the back door already.
Yeah, we're in a thing. When you did net scan, what it returned to you, that wasn't that they're paths to systems, right?
Yeah.
So it's it would be a path to instead of it just being, so it's one of them was called printer.
Mm-hmm.
But is that just the name of a service running, or is it a remote service you can see from that box?
I think it's on the box.
Right.
Target is asking what folder you want to access, apparently. So user. Bit misleading. Yeah, it is a bit misleading, but thanks for pointing that out, Shep. Your backdoor is your position on the network to further the move. Wrong host or username. Maybe it doesn't like the /. Wrong host or username. Okay, it will. Still wrong host or username. Maybe. No, I'm really not getting this. I've tried it in Lightman. I've tried $. I mean, unless... Oh, it's because it needs to be user enlightenment, maybe.
I can't quite see exactly what you're putting in there. Oh, you've got it all. You've got it all up there. I'm seeing it now.
Chef's Life says, not familiar with Windows, ? What am I doing wrong in terms of the paths from a Windows perspective then?
Well, hang on. Have you? I can't see the text that you've got there. But if whatever the folder structure it gave you is what you should paste in directly, right?
I don't know, actually. I mean, I've been breaking it up because of the fact that its target is meant to be the path, apparently.
Okay. But if they're saying URL and they do actually mean some form of URL structure, then with some kind of...
Oh, as in...
It would be a double slash in front of the thing. If you're talking about a networked resource in Windows, it would be something like that.
Shep's Life says the $C is a default share and it's coming from the user. What does that mean? $C is a folder. Right, yeah. Well, I tried just Enlightenment before as the, is it just literally having... So, Shep, you're saying... I want to be looking in user and then Enlightenment, right? Or you're saying paste the entire path in the top there. The entire path. Okay. Yeah. You're deleting stuff. Yeah, I was deleting stuff after I pasted in the path because I didn't realise that it was that folder in particular. I thought you were saying that it was a case of looking in the users folder. Right. So, okay. So how does this password attack?
Has somebody got to click to start it, or?
Rock you. It's the Rock you database is the first option. Right. Shep's Life says, don't feel bad, I deleted the $C first time as well out of habit. Yeah, it just seemed like an odd thing for it, like you said, to be asking for a location. But I suppose it just depends on what that file or folder is supposed to be. So to use this password crack, we'll just try the RockU database first, or we'll just try them all? It's going to take longer. Right, yeah, let's just try RockU first.
Yeah.
That apparently... Oh, it's going to take 3 minutes. Fucking hell, it's actually going to take 3 minutes. That timer is real time. Yeah, Shep's Life says, hint, you'll want to play with those settings. That timer is real time. Right, let's close that then. Oh shit, I've just closed the whole thing.
Turbine C2 registry initiated.
Nuts. Right. Back to password.
Password attack and intrusion module initiated. Target acquired. Awaiting variables to launch attack.
Well, if you want realism, that is it.
Yeah, I don't. I've sort of mentioned this in the past. It's like, I mean, this is kind of, it's fun in some ways. The fact that you've kind of got this guidance and it's got a beautiful interface. But the point of playing a game is not necessarily absolute simulative realism. And I mean, maybe if you're doing a train sim where you're building railway tracks that you couldn't in real life, but we're talking about being able to spin up an ISO image of a vulnerable box and use many of these tools and sit and wait for 47 minutes for something to be cracked then and there if you wanted to.
Yeah, it's accurate enough that it almost does look like a training suite. So if you were to go through this whole game, you'd know enough for someone to turn around and go, right, just replace the names of the commands with the names of the actual commands, and off you go.
Yeah. Well, John the Ripper is the fastest crack we've got there. I don't know what else we've got in terms of configuration.
John's the way.
Well, I don't know whether there's any other settings to set.
Oh, they've even put the name John in there, have they? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, this is John the Ripper.
Oh, nice.
It's the database that we can query there, or the module of the cracking tool.
So John is the actual tool that people default to do this, or at least for the longest time.
Okay, Shep's Life says each one has different time. The best one to use. There you go. BCC to the moon. Right, so it's a Bitcoin owner. This person that we're hodler. Shep's Life says later in the game you can play with the variables on the right to help reduce the timer as well. Right, so copy that password. Right, so we've got the password now. What? Find any relevant files to help the investigation. I need to work out how I'm logging in now. Do I use Fox Acid in order to...
Oh wow, your first mission. This is exciting.
File browser.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Enter target host. Oh, I haven't written... Is there a notepad somewhere? Because I've got, I need...
Why? What did you need to do?
I need to keep note of both the password. So there's the password that we've got.
Yeah, I've got the password if you want to remember the other thing.
Okay, well, I'll need to just grab the user, I guess, in the file browser.
Enlightenment, right?
Yeah. Is that? Okay. Detecting OS. Username. Here we go. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just so Carol's just asked, has he found the notepad yet? I used a pen and paper for ... too long. And then Shep's Life has said Control N. No, there's a neat mechanic in the game. Once you've broken a password, you can click the load from attack. So what's the password? BCC to the moon.
BCC numerical 2 the moon.
Lowercase BCC.
All of it lowercase.
So we're in. So Control N for notepad, is it? That's better. Yeah, that is I'm gonna put that in my this workspace here. It's not letting me move workspaces with it. Or it is, but not. I was going to give the notepad its own unique workspace, but apparently not.
I can try and keep, either I can write stuff down or just try and keep them in memory.
We've got this notepad now, like Carol was saying. But yeah, I mean,
it's
you
up to
keeping
you.
track is good as well. Yeah, it's probably more.
Do you want the coordinates for the Pentagon from earlier? Because I've still got them.
Good. Well, I don't need it just yet, but yeah, we should check back in on that. So, right. So we're in here. That is neat. Right, Sheps, I've said if you minimize it, then there's a new icon it creates down the bottom, so that does hide it away. Better.
Oh,
right.
Yeah.
So we're looking for backup important wares, files, Uni 7444.
This script kiddie managed to infect themselves. That's pretty careless.
Well, I would personally look in wares
There's
first.
a lot here, but
Yep.
all the
Stuff they
malware is
stole, right?
outdated.
Yep.
Some of them are at least 5
Agent
years
Dylan
old.
is saying that
Well, except Uni
this script kiddie has managed to infect
74455.dll.
themselves.
No idea what that is. Never seen it before.
Classic.
Can you download it so I can get a closer look?
I don't know what. It's interesting. Like Shep's Life was saying, it's Windows paths, but there's kind of sort of Linux read-write symbols to the right of the files. So they're kind of mixing OSs.
Oh, that's all right. I mean, you still have a similar implementation of permissions flag setting, but it's just not, doesn't necessarily look like that, does it? You found anything
No,
yet?
exactly. No, I was just digging around in the documents, but it's all, even though we've got the password, it's all locked up. So apparently not. So I think that's
No,
it.
you need to say something in the thing as you need to privesk.
I think we've completed the mission already.
Have we? I don't remember any privesking. I mean, is that what they mean by finding the password and then escalating that way? Because I thought that was just to access the server. I thought you need to find some files, do some form of privesk,
Well, we
and
found
something
the
else.
file. Yeah, I've already found the file and had a conversation with our mission
Oh,
commander.
that's what that was.
Carol's
Okay.
saying that Linux file servers / Windows file servers are backward slash. That's the difference.
The difference is that Linux works well if you don't build it poorly.
So I think we've got the malware, and
Okay.
we're done.
I'm sure there's privesk somewhere.
Yeah, there
that
was
we would
something about Privesk noted in the
'Cause-
mission, wasn't there?
It might give you these grayed out files, you see. If you have greater auth, you can read more things.
That would be nice, because we haven't gotten to read very much of what's in this person's computer. So,
Yeah,
Shepslife
very
says,
rude of them
you can
locking
think
it
of the note. Yeah, exactly. You can think of the notepad as part of the GUI. It opens on top of everything to keep you on the right path for now. Right. So add to case file. Any documents, credentials, or logs that you save in your current mission can be reviewed by accessing the command center's case file. Okay.
Yeah, so we're doing the opposite now. We're saving logs rather than RMing them all the time.
Yeah, exactly, because we're the big nasties. So,
Keep logs and receipts, that's the deal.
receipts.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I'm sure we had to privesk in a place, but whatever.
well, apparently we've completed the mission. We're on to the next one. So, it says, Operation Castle Ivy, type investigation, minimal real life level beginner, ambient spy agent. Military grade malware was stolen from Nite Team 4 by as of yet unknown means. Access the scope of the leak. Select mission. Downloading X-Keyscore. So we're going to be using X-Keyscore next.
More complicated. The blood
I am trying to work out the
main intelligence directorate of the Russian Federation, also
storyboard direction of this and the choices that were made.
We'll find out. It's blaming the Russians now.
Their projects.
Well, of course.
Not exactly confirmed, but I'll spare you the details. GRU agreed
Right,
to
yeah, I don't know.
And they've shared the identity of
It's a
suspect,
bit strange.
He's likely
Hey
the owner of that
guys,
computer you infiltrated.
check out this hacking game. Oh wait, your government. Oh wait, you're using illegal surveillance technology.
It's a little long.
And here all.
Investigate
Yeah, it is a bit.
IDs
It's
all
there.
based, it's based in Salisbury.
Access his cell phone and analyze his
You
radio
jet what?
activities,
Yeah,
identify
look on the map
details of
now.
Lightman's acquisition
On the
of
screen.
military-grade malware.
Did you miss that?
GRU
Look.
agreed to help us on this case.
Yeah,
And
it's
they shared the
based in
identity of the
Salisbury.
suspect,
Yeah.
Nathan Lightman. He's likely the owner
Who
of that
made
computer
this?
you
Where
infiltrated.
you said
Pulled his
a Canadian group
financial
made this, right?
information,
Yeah, I think
IDs,
so.
records, and uploaded it to your X-Keyscore.
It's a
So
little
use
bit,
mass surveillance
Objectives are
not illegally used by NSA and monitor Russian people in Salisbury.
Yeah.
Access his cell phone and analyze his recent activities.
Well, actually, they're saying that this guy, the GRU, have given him up as a suspect. So, I don't know. It's really tricky. These demos, they don't have a written version of it for you to review, and it's kind of boring just sitting and listening to it. So I'll just listen to it quickly.
The blood dove leak is bad news, but it looks like our arsenal wasn't the only one compromised. The main intelligence directorate of the Russian Federation, also known as GRU,
Okay, no.
confirmed UNI
It's not blaming the GRU, it's saying that the GRU have also had their tools stolen, and so we're working with them to work out what's happened.
GRU agreed to help us on this case.
An FSB contractor did recently have a whole load of their stuff jacked. I don't know if you know about this.
We've pulled his
Nope.
financial information, IDs,
Yeah,
and records
Jira
and uploaded it
exploit,
to
it looks like.
X-Keyscore.
Oh, really? What, the Jira exploit from literally a few weeks ago?
Investigate Nathan Lightman's
Yeah, so so they haven't. It hasn't been right. So firstly, I'm not publicly disclosing that a Jira exploit is used. What I'm saying is that 2 days after the Jira exploit was made available, a contractor for the FSB had 7.5 terabytes, I think, of data sharked from them, and one person in one place alluded to the fact that one of the things accessed was a Jira instance. So that's what we know. Nobody's confirming that it was a Jira exploit. In case, I'm not I'm not disclosing that, but it sounds like that's what happened. So yeah, was it Site? Is it spelled Sytech? SYTECH? But they were an FSB contractor, and there was a load of FSB related tooling discussed in the information that got jacked from the server.
Well, so based on what this is saying here, we have to investigate this guy Nathan Lightman, who has been a suspect of the GRU loss of tools, and they've handed their details on this person over to us, and he's the one that's sitting in Salisbury.
Your mission objectives
so intel from the main intelligence directorate has been uploaded to X-Keyscore. Investigate the target's official records of financial transactions. Go to the network intrusion menu and open the phone CID tool. Connect to his device using the intel provided by the Russians and investigate his activities for the last 5 days. Then identify how and where Nathan Lightman managed to acquire military-grade malware. Dylan will be in the field to assist. So, there we go. Okay, and that is it for the demo. So we were only allowed to do the first mission. It says, warning, the full version of this game is required to play this chapter. So, well, conclusions? Is it, I'm finding this fairly interesting. How about you, Path?
Yeah, the accuracy of a lot of the stuff is quite good. I don't know where they were going with that last part. I mean, follow the train of that chapter through. GRU are targeting a person they believe stole stuff from them, and this person's currently in Salisbury.
And they've told the NSA equivalent, because we're meant to be sort of NSA, I suppose, seeing as we're talking with American voiced actors.
Well, we're using
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not sure that the Russians would tell the Americans of a suspect of theirs for a similar breach that was in the UK.
No.
However, maybe that's a plot twist. You know, could be very clever writing. We don't know yet.
Yeah. Don't really know what to make of that. It seems like it's leading to the secret revelation that they were going after somebody in Salisbury who they deemed to be an enemy, and obviously that happened.
Yeah, do you think it's a bit soon? Are we particularly sensitive, do you think? Because we are both obviously UK-related folk.
I don't know about... It's not on a point of offence. It's on trying to work out what their remit was, because obviously this game was released more than a year after the Salisbury thing. It's not like you could say, well, we were nearly done with the game, didn't have a choice but to drop it as it is. But then what was their intention in putting it? Is it just simply that it's less of a deal for them because of where they are in the world when they're putting this together?
I think that's probably what it is. It's like, oh cool, there's some intrigue, I would have thought.
Yeah.
So that is it. I can't play any other missions. I think I should get a copy of this for us to play further into it. What do you reckon?
Yeah, it's quite good. The referencing real CVEs and the attention to detail in how to
exploit DB to read up on the vector attack.
The only thing they didn't, which rightly for sort of game flow, the thing they didn't do was have you manually set out all the parameters of you launching your thing. You did it in the sort of GUI fashion that you said Cobalt Strike.
Yeah, it's not quite as interesting as Cobalt, because obviously Cobalt's a functional tool that goes into more depth. It's not just, you don't just drop things into 6 slots, but even that has its kind of basis that's interesting. And you know, like we've spoken about with Off Grid, the hacking game that I make, like we've gone down completely the other path of not aiming to copy any specific tools or be particularly realistic about any given process, but more to just talk about principles and networks and the notion that you've got to manipulate people and pay attention to the files that you find. So you know, this is far more simulative than anything that we're doing.
Well, yes and no. I mean, in terms of the flow of going through stuff, maybe, but the ease of IoT compromising is it's not far off, because it's not actually, there aren't actually, these kind of compromises that we're looking at now are reminiscent of the way that these types of compromises exist. Now, in off-grid, the way that you're manipulating devices around you is not that far away, because they are two separate experiences in terms of the flow of breaking into these things. Like, you can find IoT things everywhere and almost immediately control them with little issue. It's almost like the way people remember the 80s, 90s style, just dial a thing and enter a command.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of the state of IoT. And if you think about it, it makes sense. A ton of these devices have tiny memory and tiny sort of specs, because they're single chips somewhere in a device.
Yep.
So therefore they're only very basic in terms of usage. You find these things dotted everywhere and just talk to them.
Yeah.
So it's you know, wouldn't associate what you'd be doing in that game with the amount of faff to exploit things you're exploiting in this game. They're different types of realism, aren't they?
Yep, certainly. Yeah. Well, I think I'd like to explore a bit more of this, so I think I'll give it a thumbs up, and maybe we'll follow up on a part 2. What do you reckon?
Yeah, seems fun. Hopefully we can rope some more miscreants in next time.
I think that sounds good to me. Yeah, I think a few of our friends will have a laugh with it. So Shep's
you're going to trigger more than one person is going to be. You're going to trigger one of these CVs is going to come up in someone else's past.
Yeah.
Suddenly.
Yep. Yeah. We should maybe try and get a few of us in for it. As many as possible, maybe. Then we're more likely to come across things that everyone's played with. So Shep's Life says the other missions are much better. The demo doesn't even scratch some of the complexity in the game, which is good to hear. If you go to your profile and click career, you can see all the agencies you'll work with or against. And Carol says, thanks for twitching, y'all. Thanks, Carol. Thanks for coming along and popping in and helping us through. Yeah, we'll play it again for sure. I've had some fun. Let's... Shep's Life says, I'd like to see the co-op stream with the multiplayer part of the game. Yeah, I'd be up for that. I'll get the full version of the game for the next Internet is Serious Business. Sorry, Video Games Is Serious Business stream, and we can definitely have a look at those different bits and pieces. I assume I probably got to complete story mode before I can go any further into things like the open world mode and whatever else, but we'll see where we get to. So you said go into my profile and click career. I see. Right, yeah, right, I see. So it has a list of the different agencies that you work with, and it looks like it's sort of RPG style reputation chart or scoring. So like CIA we've got 1,000 reputation with, GCHQ we've got 1,000 reputation with, SAD, who's SAD?
Special Activities Division, I'm guessing.
Who's that?
They're a sub-branch of the CIA.
Oh, right.
You know in the Bourne films?
Yeah.
In the Bourne films, there's like a fake name thing for, I don't know, Treadstone is the one that Bourne was in. But essentially the class of people that do the kind of 1 to 5 man super secret whatever, the actual department for that allegedly is SAD.
Right.
Although they're not going around being Jason Bournes everywhere, but that is like the quiet section of the CIA that does the cheeky thing.
Right. Well, we'll learn lots of acronyms as we play.
Yeah.
BND are there. We've got a contact at the BND, but Mossad we don't have a contact at yet. But then I've got no idea who Sec 9 are, or Nitro.
Sec 9? No, I don't. Never heard of that.
Sec-9. Cool. All right. Well, I think.
Is it Sec or is it GSG? That surely it's not GSG 9. That's the German Special Forces. No, it must be something different.
I don't think so. I think it is different. We'll find out. Shep's like saying weird. It says you haven't completed all the tutorials. That's because I skipped one of the tutorials. I think that's why. Well, we can have a quick look, I suppose. It might be worth having a quick look just to see whether there's anything. What's this? Join team attack server. Enter a server name. Oh, that is the co-op multiplayer stuff. Multiplayer co-op feature requires the full version of the game to be unlocked. Oh, that's interesting. Right, so you can do multiplayer attacking of some of these users and locations that you've found already.
Oh, hang on a minute. I think I've just found something. Sorry, I'm still playing around. Yep. Sec 9 might be a reference to Section 9, which might be a reference to Military Intelligence Section 9, otherwise MI9 in the MI6, MI5 style. Yeah, they're Directorate of Military Intelligence, MI9, allegedly. Section 9 is what they're called, and they haven't been around for quite a long time. World War II, even.
Right. Well,
so maybe it isn't
that
them,
conspiracy theory.
Section 9.
They still are around.
Yeah. Still around, yeah.
Well, it looks like
There's
have I got training left to do? Stinger OS Basics, Advanced OSINT, Box Acid, that's done. Granted. No, I don't seem to be able to. Guess the demo doesn't do the full tutorial. There's basic term, digital forensic, and network intrusion in that drop down. Yeah, so all I've got is basic terminal operations. I don't have digital forensics or network intrusion. And well, it's kind of odd really, because we had to use some of the network intrusion tools, but they weren't tutorialized. Actually needed you guys in the chat there to help us through. So it's a bit odd that they don't have the full tutorials. For as hand-holdy as everything else was, I suppose they wanted to allow you to kind of dig around on your own and see, give you the feeling of kind of winning something on your own. I guess that's probably what that comes down to. Cool. Well, I'm going to wrap it up there, I think, Path. Thanks to everyone for watching. Thanks for chiming in and helping me out. Shep's Life and Carol and KM and Green John. And everyone else for watching or lurking or whatever else. Thanks for being there. Thanks for being around. Make sure you chime in next time. Make sure you also like and subscribe us on here, on Twitch, on whichever of the platforms that we stream over that you're watching us through, whether that be broadcasts or Periscope or YouTube or whatever else. Like, subscribe, make sure that you tune in next time, and join our Discord, which is discord.gg/Semeopus, SEMAEOPUS, and we can chat more in there. Without further ado, I suppose I'll say good night. Good night, Path. Have a good evening.
Take it easy.
And I'll see you all again soon. Ta-ta.